Nestled in the heart of the Caribbean amidst turquoise waters and sunlit valleys, Cuba was known as the Pearl of the Antilles, with its rich tobacco fields, sugarcane plains, and unique culture. For centuries, this island, one of the most prized jewels of the Spanish colonial empire, became the stage for an unyielding struggle for freedom against exploitation, slavery, and subsequently the shadow of American imperialism. This was an epic of revolution where the fire of guerrilla warfare was lit in its mountains, and the people took their destiny into their own hands. With Christopher Columbus stepping foot on the island in 1492, Cuba fell under Spanish dominion. After swiftly exterminating the indigenous Taino population, the Spaniards transformed the island into massive sugarcane and tobacco plantations. Hundreds of thousands of slaves brought from Africa were forced to labor on these plantations under inhumane conditions. As Cuba became one of the greatest sources of wealth for the Spanish crown, its people were crushed under exploitation and oppression. In the late 19th century, independence movements erupted against Spanish colonial rule. Poet, writer, and revolutionary José Martí awakened a national consciousness for Cuba's freedom. Marti lost his life in 1950 days while fighting Spanish troops in 1895, yet his cause inspired the entire Cuban populace. His ideals became the immortal torch of the island's struggle for independence. Just as the Cubans were about to secure victory against the Spanish army, the U.S. intervened in the war in 1898 under the pretext of the sinking of the USS Maine in Havana Harbor. Spain was defeated as a result of the Spanish-American War, but Cuba failed to attain true independence. Through the imposed Platt Amendment, the U.S. placed the island under its own military and economic tutelage, seizing Guantanamo Bay as a military base. While Cuba, controlled by American corporations and the mafia, was turned into a foreign playground and vacation paradise, its people were left in poverty and misery. In 1952, U.S.-backed General Fulgencio Batista seized power in a military coup. The Batista regime established a bloody dictatorship characterized by mass executions of dissidents, rampant corruption, and injustice. The people's hopes for freedom and justice had withered. Following the failed assault on the Moncada barracks in 1953, figures such as Fidel Castro, Raúl Castro, and the Argentine doctor Che Guevara launched a guerrilla struggle in the Sierra Maestra Mountains. Backed by the populace, the 26th of July movement blossomed into a popular uprising spreading from the mountains to the cities. The guerrillas gained the upper hand against Batista's modern army with the support of the people. In the early hours of January 1, 1959, dictator Fulgencio Batista boarded an airplane and fled the country. Fidel Castro and the revolutionaries entered Havana amidst the cheering applause of ecstatic crowds. Ending decades of foreign tutelage and dictatorship, the Cuban people became the masters of their own homeland. The revolution sent shockwaves throughout Latin America. Following the revolution, intense tensions erupted between the U.S. and Cuba. The nationalization of American corporations prompted the U.S. to impose severe economic embargoes. The 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion and the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis pushed Cuba to the brink of nuclear war. Despite economic hardships and external pressures, the Cuban people displayed immense resilience to protect their revolution. The Cuban Revolution decisively terminated centuries of Spanish colonial rule on the island, followed by decades of American economic and political tutelage. The Cuban flag began to wave through the free will of its own people. The streets of Havana witnessed colorful festivals celebrating the victory of the revolution and the euphoria of independence. The Cuban people took pride in the system they built with their own hands, achieving remarkable successes in education and healthcare. The story of Cuba proved that even in the shadow of superpowers, a small island could write its own destiny. But when we journey to West Africa, to that proud country where the winds of Pan-Africanism blew under the leadership of Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana, what story awaits us? In our next video, we will witness Ghana's struggle for independence. Stay tuned.